In this lecture, we are going to discuss about the restricted Boltzmann machine. Before discussing about what is a restricted Boltzmann machine, we just casually see what are the drawbacks of Boltzmann machines. If you remember in the previous class, we discussed about the issues with the normal Boltzmann machines. Okay. So the main drawback of the Boltzmann machine is the training takes forever. That is, for every single input, we have to run many number of simulations, or we have to run large number of simulations for every single input at each iteration. Okay. So what happens as a consequence of this, it is taking more amount of time, so we cannot say that it is computationally friendly model. Okay. So the solution for this is what we are discussing about is restricted Boltzmann machine. So how we are solving this problem in restricted Boltzmann machine, we'll see. Okay. So this is the structure, or this is the representation of restricted Boltzmann machine. So this is our normal Boltzmann machine, which we have discussed in the previous class. Okay. So if we see in the Boltzmann machine, I'm now talking about Boltzmann machine, not the restricted Boltzmann machine. Please note. Okay. So if we see in the Boltzmann machine, every neuron is connected to every other neuron. That is, A is connected to G, F, E, D, C, B, and then B is connected to all the other neurons, C is connected to all the other neurons, and every neuron is connected to every other neuron. And also remember, if you remember the concepts which we have discussed in the Boltzmann machine, we have two different types of neurons. That is, the first one is visible neurons, the second category is hidden neurons. So if you observe in this diagram, all the visible neurons are connected to their own. That is, visible neurons are connected to the visible neurons, and the visible neurons are also connected to the hidden neurons. Okay. And vice versa. That is, hidden neurons are connected to hidden neurons, and hidden neurons are also connected to visible neurons. So instead of this, now a variation of the Boltzmann machines, which is nothing but restricted Boltzmann machine. If you see, we have a bipartite graph. That is, this is a bipartite graph where we have only connections between visible neuron to hidden neuron. So if you observe, there is no connection between the visible neuron to visible neuron. Okay, this connection does not exist. See, visible neuron to visible neuron connections will not exist. Only there are connections from visible neurons to hidden neurons, and there are connections from hidden neurons to visible neurons. Okay, so there are no connections within these visible neurons, and there are no connections within these hidden neurons. That is, this hidden neuron one is not connected to any other hidden neurons. But if you compare this with the normal or general Boltzmann machines, we where all the hidden neurons are connected to all the other hidden neurons and to all the other visible neurons, and all the visible neurons are connected to all the hidden neurons and all the visible neurons. Okay, so this is the actual differentiation between the Boltzmann machine and restricted Boltzmann machine. Okay, so generally, this restricted Boltzmann machine, originally it is proposed by Paul Smolensky. This restricted Boltzmann machine is proposed by Paul Smolensky. Excuse me, I'm sorry. So originally this restricted Boltzmann machine is called as harmonium model. Okay, this Boltzmann machine, the restricted Boltzmann machine, is called harmonium model, which is proposed by Paul Smolensky. Okay, so we are going to now partition these visible units and hidden units. So if you see here, the visible units only communicate or talk to hidden units, and the hidden units only talk to visible units. That is, hidden units will not talk to hidden units here, and visible units will not talk to visible units. There are no connections from a visible unit to other visible unit. Here we have only connections between visible unit and hidden units. Okay, next. So if you see here, the rules for this restricted Boltzmann machine is same as the rules for the regular Boltzmann machine. It means that to set any particular state, that is to fire any particular neuron, what do? We compute the weighted combination of all the inputs, right? So we compute the weighted combination of all the inputs into that particular state, and then what we are doing, we are going to calculate the logistic over it, right? Okay. So for ZI, if we take a unit ZI, we'll compute all the weighted combination of all the inputs. Okay. And then what we are going to do, we then compute the logistic for that particular unit. Isn't it? That is for a hidden unit. That is, if you consider a hidden unit, what is the hidden unit? These are the hidden unit. Let us say we consider this particular unit. Okay. So these particular hidden units, they only look at the visible states only. If you see, this is, let us say this is a hidden unit. It is only looking at all the visible states. Okay. It does not take into consideration about the other hidden states. So for a ith hidden state, let us say Zi is for a ith hidden state. Okay. The ith hidden state value is the logistic, which is computed over the weighted combination of all the visible units. If you see, now we are calculating this Zi value for a hidden state, that is for a hidden neuron or a hidden unit. But if you see, for all the hidden neurons, we are calculating the weighted combination of all the visible units, Vi. Okay, V suffix I. So to get all the values of, to get a particular value of a hidden unit, we are calculating that one from the weighted combination of all the visible units. Okay, so this is actually the main difference between a regular Boltzmann machine and a restricted Boltzmann machine. Now similarly, it is same for the visible unit also. Okay, so for ith visible unit, so visible units are marked in yellow. If you see, for the ith visible unit, it is derived from, the value is derived from the logistic, which is computed over the weighted combination of all the hidden units. If you see, this is WJHI, the weighted combination of all the hidden units. That is, for visible unit, we compute all the weighted combination values of the hidden unit, and for hidden unit, we compute all the weighted combination of the visible units. Okay, so what's here actually, the hidden units govern the visible units, and visible units govern the hidden units. So this is what actually happening in the restricted Boltzmann machine. Okay. Now coming to the training of restricted Boltzmann machine. So let us now see how training happens in the restricted Boltzmann machines. The training in the restricted Boltzmann machines actually differs from the training of the regular neural networks. Here, the training in the regular in the restricted Boltzmann machine actually happens through stochastic gradient descent. So, if you remember in our previous section, in our previous session, we discussed about the stochastic dynamics of a Boltzmann machine, right? So here it happens actually through stochastic gradient descent. So there are mainly two training steps. So if you see here on the screen, there are mainly two training steps. The first one is called Gibbs sampling, and the second one is called contrastive divergence. Okay, so let us see how Gibbs sampling and contrastive divergence actually help us to train these restricted Boltzmann machines. Now coming to Gibbs sampling. So the first part of training is called the Gibbs sampling. So now given an input vector v, let us assume that this is an input vector v naught. Okay, given an input vector v, now we are going to use this equation, which is marked in red. We are going to use this equation, which is used for predicting the hidden value h. So if you observe here, if you remember, let us say P of A by B. What is the meaning of P of A by B? We are finding the probability of A given B, right? So this is actually the meaning of P of A by B, right? So the same here follows here, P of Hj equal to 1 by V. That is given the hidden value H. Okay, now we are calculating the, okay, I'm sorry, P of Hj equal to 1 by V, given the initial, the first part of the input vector, given the input vector V. Okay, so this one, given the input vector V, now we are trying to find out the value of the hidden vector. That is, from this input vector V, we are trying to calculate this hidden vector H naught. Okay, so this is the first part. That is, first we gave our original input V naught, and we are trying to get the H naught from this particular V naught. So from V naught we got H naught, right? So after knowing the hidden values, so after knowing the hidden value, that is from the input V naught, we got this H naught value. So after knowing this hidden vector values, this one, after knowing this hidden vector values, now we again use this equation, that is P of Vi equal to 1 by H. That is given the value of hidden layer or given the value of hidden unit, that is this one. Now we are having this value, right? So given the value of hidden unit, now we are going to calculate the probability of Va equals to 1. That is the first one. So from this one, now we are trying to calculate this one. Okay. So for predicting the new input value, that is, this is our original input value, right? From this we got the hidden value, and from this we are again getting the prediction of the new input value, that is the modified input value. So like this process is going to continue. That is, from here we got this one, and from here we'll get again the hidden vector values, and from here again we'll get the again the visible unit value. So like this, the process is repeated n number of times. That it is repeated a number of times, and after each iteration we are going to obtain another input which is reconstructed from the original input value, right? So this is our original input value. Okay, I'm going to clear the screen actually. So this is our original input value, and from this we got this one, and from this again we got v1, that is which is a reconstructed input value from the original value. So like this, so on and so forth, we are going to get the reconstructed input value. Okay, so this we are getting with the help of this particular formula. Okay, so this is how actually we are going to construct the a reconstructed. I mean, we are going to get the reconstructed input from the original input value. Now, coming to the next step. What is the next step? So the next step is called contrastive divergence. So here in contrastive divergence, what happens? We update the weight matrix. So in the contrastive divergence, we update the weight matrix. So the update for this weight matrix actually happens in the contrastive divergence step. So now both these vectors are used to calculate the activation probabilities for the hidden values. So if you see the difference between this value and this value, that is V naught into P of H naught by V naught minus Vk into P of Hk given Vk. So the difference between these values is used to update the weight matrix delta W. So using this updated value, using this updated weight matrix, now we are going to get the new weight, that is W new equal to W old plus delta W. So these new weights now can be calculated using the gradient descent, which is given by this equation. So this is how the overall training is going to happen. So if you see, we have initial input vector V naught, okay, and from here we got H naught, and from this we got V1, and from here to H1, and then here to V2, and then H2, and so on up to V infinity and H infinity. Okay, so according to this particular formula, dou log P of V by dou Wij is equal to Vi H day, that is the initial value minus the last value. So here this Vi and H day is going to represent the average of all the generated training samples. So here what we are doing, we are going to initialize the visible unit, and then we let the network evolve like this, isn't it? So it then gives this complete chain. So like this, the training of the restricted Boltzmann machine actually happens. Now, applications of restricted Boltzmann machines. So during the early days of deep learning, what actually happened? These restricted Boltzmann machines are used to build many of the applications. The first thing is dimensionality reduction. The second thing is recommender systems, and the third one is topic modeling. But one important thing to consider is now RBMs are replaced by an advanced networks called GANs, that is generative adversarial networks. Now we are no more using these RBMs, and they are rarely used. These restricted Boltzmann machines are rarely used. Okay, so now these restricted Boltzmann machines are actually replaced by GANs, which we'll be discussing as part of the next sessions. Okay, so generative adversarial networks, or we also have another type of mm, thing called variation autoencoder, which is most frequently called as VAEs. Okay, so now this GANs and VAEs are used to replace this restricted Boltzmann machines. Okay, so now present the network. I mean, presently the research, the area. I mean, the research is mostly on generative adversarial networks, through which now we are going to solve our real world. Okay, So this is all about the restricted Boltzmann machine.